Hello, everybody. Dr. Hunt here. Gonna give people a few minutes. Sorry, I'm a little bit late. I always have a hard time figuring out how to get it started. You would think I would know by now, but they changed things. Happy New Year to everybody out there. Happy New Year. I want to let a couple more people come through, and then we'll take it from there. So, today's topic is New Year, New You. We're going to talk a little bit about NGW and giving everybody a refresher of what NGW is. No guesswork. So we'll let a couple of more people. Happy New Year. Oh, good. I'm glad the Kansas ladies are ready. So we got some more people. Okay, there we go. All right. Welcome. Happy New Year, everybody. I think we'll get started and then let people join as they come. So this is a new year. I mean, 2020, as we know, has been a hellish year, and we made it. We made it to 2021. We still got a long ways to go. I mean, we still have COVID. We still, have to get people vaccinated, all these different things, but we are here. But with everything, we've gone through a lot. Gyms have closed. People are in the house more. Weren't taking care of ourselves as much, probably. But now is the time. This is everybody has their own thing about New Year's resolutions, but the one thing I will say, it's a good thing to have a time to start, right? Like to have a starting place. And so I think the new year is a good starting place. And so what I want to do briefly is go back to what NGW is. If you don't have the book, get the book, NGW, No Guesswork. And what NGW is all about is helping you get to a healthier weight. And the way we do that, and I'm gonna briefly go through it for the newcomers who might not know a whole lot about NGW, is we follow a low carbohydrate diet. And the reason we follow a low carbohydrate diet is because when you get your carbs down, you decrease your insulin levels. And it's all about hormones, right? As I mentioned, if you looked at some of the older videos. And once you get your insulin down, insulin is your fat storage hormone. So if your insulin is low, you won't store fat. And so the goal is to keep your insulin down. And the thing that stimulates insulin the most is carbs. And so the goal is to get your carbs down. The other goal is to control your ghrelin, your hunger gremlin. And that is controlled by protein. So we want you to have a low or lower carbs and higher protein. And that's basically how we get started with the NGW approach. Now, we also want you to find your carb number. Hashtag, what's your carb number? And so my carb number, for instance, is 70. So if I consistently keep my carbs below 70, I will predictably lose 1 to 2 pounds a week. And we tell you how to find your carb number in the book. And so that's how we get going. But there's a little bit more to it than that. So the thing I always say is people who track their food do better, and people who plan do better. It's now time to say, hey, you know what? It's a new year. Let me get going. Let me get my physical activity going. Let me get my diet in order. let me clean out these pantries and get all the junk out and go to the supermarket and get the food that's NGW approved. So it's important to get the foods that that are NGW approved. Because if you have food in the house that is not NGW approved, you're probably going to eat it. But if it's not there, you won't eat it. And so we need to make a renewed commitment and go to the store, get all your low carb foods, get all your low carb snacks, and get your plan together. Now, if there are people in your house who are not doing what you're doing, working on getting to a healthier weight at this time, one, try to encourage them, because it's good to have someone else there with you, supporting you. But if they're not, it's called stimulus narrowing. So you need to narrow your stimulus so that you won't be tempted by other things. So you need to have your own cabinet with all your stuff, and you need to have your side of the refrigerator with all your stuff, and you need to get going. And you need to track. If you don't track your food on the app, the NGW app isn't out yet, but it will be. But for now, you can use MyFitnessPal or Lose It and put in your food. You won't know how many carbs you're eating throughout the day unless you track your food. I've been studying this for a long time, so I know that a medium-sized banana has about 35 grams of carbs. An apple has 25. A slice of bread has 15. But you may not know all of these things. I call it a carbologist. Once you do this long enough, you just can look at a food and you'll know, because you've been putting it in your app for years and years and years. And so you kind of just know by memory how many carbs are in certain things. And your goal is to get your carbs below 100. That is your initial goal. Turns out that the average American eats about 300 to 400 grams of carbs a day. That's 3 to 4 times more than you should be eating, which is why it is difficult to lose weight, and which is why we do a low carb approach as opposed to a low calorie approach, because a low carb approach is more effective at getting you to your healthy weight, and it happens a lot quicker too. So the goal is to get your carbs under 100, and then to find your carb number. That's key. So the uniqueness of this plan is to find your carb number. Now some people say, well, can I just go keto? And you can, but you don't actually have to go that low. You can go, everybody has their own number, like I said. So my number is 70. Your number might be 90. Somebody else's might be as low as what keto is, but each of us have a carb number where our insulin reduces enough that we then begin to burn fat. And the name of the game is to burn fat. And then when you burn fat, you also release ketones that are satiating to your brain. So they shut off your hunger and cravings. And so if you have a hard time in the beginning trying to remove carbs from your diet, what I try to tell people is do a 3-day carb detox. Just eat meat, so some fish, so salmon, whatever fish you like, or chicken or turkey or whatever, and green veggies mostly. Drink a lot of water. And after 3 days, you will have a better control on limiting your carbs. And then you need to find alternatives. So there are a lot of stuff if you go to the websites, there are a lot of people, an NGW website, and they'll post low carb breads, they'll post low carb snacks. There's a bunch in the book where you can find things that you enjoy. There's something called Fat Bombs, which is a nice low carb snack. There's so many alternatives that you can really navigate this whole thing and get to a healthy weight. And when we try to tell people is get the diet going. The exercise is important, don't get me wrong. It's definitely important because it helps keep you disciplined. But I also want you to get the diet going because 80% of weight loss is diet and 20% of it is physical activity. We want that 20%, but we want you to get the diet going and we want you to really get it going. Now, I know, the holidays just passed and maybe you had a couple of stumbles, over Thanksgiving and maybe over the Christmas holiday and maybe over New Year's, but we are past that. And so now it's time to make a commitment today to say that I'm going to get going. And we're going to do a 30-day challenge. I'm going to talk more about that on a different post, but we're going to do a 30-day challenge with a couple of you viewers, and I'm going to work with you in order to get you to your 30-day challenge. And so it's time today to get going. So what I want you to do, get your carbs under 100. You can do it. I need you to start tracking your food. If you don't track your food, how are you gonna know how many carbs you're eating? And so you have to track it. And it's not as hard as everybody thinks. It really, once you get into a habit of popping it in your app, it'll be like second nature. And then after a while, again, you'll know that a slice of bread is 15 grams of carbs. So you'll get going. So, and even if you did, I'm happy the holidays are over too, Britt. Even if you do get a, you didn't do so well over the holidays or you gained a little weight, that's okay because now we're back. Or if you didn't lose any weight and you just maintained, that is still okay too because now it's time to get back into action. Like, we've been in the house for almost a year. It's going to be a few more months before, things get back. So we can't keep saying, well, I'll get back to it once everything gets back to normal. This is our normal now. This is our new normal now, at least for the time being. And so we need to start doing things. If your gym closed, do some stuff in the house. We talked a couple of videos ago. We talked about doing calisthenics in your house. If you get a treadmill, you might have a treadmill in your house. You might have a stationary bike in your house. So we need to really get going. And so I need us to get serious, get focused. I'm gonna get serious and focused with you guys. We're gonna do this journey together. I will help you along the way. And like I said, when I do the challenge, I'm gonna pick a couple of people so that we can do this challenge together. And we'll have them on the IG Live to see how they're doing and the Facebook Live to see how they're doing as we go through. Because I think, it's like a support group, right? Like, so we all need to support one another. And so it's good that, the reason I do this is because I want to support you. I want to support you while you're doing no guesswork. I want to, answer your questions and help guide you all through it. The reason that I even put this book together was because I couldn't help everybody in my clinic. And plus, everybody doesn't live in New Jersey. So people elsewhere wanted to, be involved and do this program, but they weren't physically in the area. And my practice kind of got a little too big. So that's the reason I wrote this book, because everything we do in my practice is in here. Everything I tell my patients is in here. Some of my patients are on here now, and they'll let you know. So I just want to say Happy New Year to everybody, and we're gonna get going. We're back every Monday at 7. We might add another day. So if your friends didn't get a chance to watch it live, have them come back to the page and watch it once I post it. Have them go to the YouTube page. Have them get the book. Have them read the book. And we got a lot of exciting things coming up in the new year. So I just want to thank you guys. Happy New Year to everybody. I'm glad you all are safe and healthy, and we're going to do this thing. All right? All right. Take care. Good seeing you guys. Bye-bye.